Hey everyone, Tony D with a hot take, and this one is about the recent Texas shooting. Very serious situation. Um, you had, and this is a still from the raw footage. You could see it on YouTube. There's no sound to it, but I don't know if you could see in the top of the screen. You see a guy pointing like a shotgun. I think he had a shotgun, and then you see another guy sort of reaching behind his back for his weapon, and it's actually I think one of the guys in the upper left-hand corner who eventually takes the guy down. But they exchange a few bullets back and forth. Um, as a libertarian, I'm big on the Second Amendment, and that's not very popular in the state of New Jersey. A lot of people here think I'm nuts, and they say, "Oh my God, people with guns, they're just crazy." The thing about guns is this: they're just a tool, and people will use them for good or ill, and there's not much you can do to stop it. You can ban all guns, but they have pretty draconian laws in Chicago, and people are still killed. The same people sort of complain about the cops and worry about the cops, shooting people. Imagine how many people the cops would shoot if they were sure nobody had a gun. They the corrupt element, and it's very small in the police force, that they have little to no incentive to shoot you. They have every incentive to be very polite to you. Everybody has an incentive to be polite if there's a chance that they are armed, and that's the deterrent. It's not that every man, woman, and child would have a sidearm. It's just that it's possible, right? And with a big church group like this, it was, and a place like Texas where, excuse me, I'm making a point about guns. I know you're against guns too. Doggy doesn't like guns. Chances are there's going to be one guy with a decent gun. Yes, I know. I realize you're very anti-gun, Joan, because you just don't like the noise. But you have to understand that I have to protect Doggy, and this is a way. So the other thing about guns too is having a sidearm, Joan. Having a sidearm evens the odds, right? So if three guys come up to me, they got baseball bats. Yeah, you're not going to do anything. You're a little dog. But if I have a gun, I can at least sort of hold my own. If I have to shoot somebody, if I have to shoot my way out, I'm gonna be the hopefully the guy who he comes out at the end. What? Okay. All right, we're going out in a minute. I got to finish this video. I tried to shoot this on my phone, having phone issues. So I don't know. The phone may be dead for videos. What, you got to sit on my lap? Is that what you need? Anyhow, my point about guns is still the same. They're a deterrent. And not everybody's going to have one. But if just one or two administrators at a school had one, it's just that it's in the mix. It won't be so easy for a crazy shooter to just roll in and start blowing people away. He's going to have to think twice about that. And you have to understand that a lot of these crazy shooters are people who are very bitter about life. They're just looking to commit suicide and take a bunch of people with them. They've become buried and bitter. Here, I'm going to pick you up. All right? Now you're on my lap. Now you have to sit here. All right? You happy? Yeah, okay. So they're very bitter people, and they become bitter for various reasons. A lot of that has to do with mental health, and we should have better mental health in this country. We should have more available mental health. There shouldn't be such a stigma about going to a therapist or just talking to somebody, especially if you don't have any resources. So that would be the one thing I would, as a libertarian, I'd be like all about giving tax breaks to people who enter in therapy and take on patients with no money, and to give them a huge tax write-off as an incentive to get these embittered people to hopefully talk them down from doing something crazy like this. When there's no hope, these people just go out, they figure they're going to go out in a blaze of glory. So I think most people, even if guns were legal, just like I think most people, even if drugs were legal, wouldn't carry a gun. Most people wouldn't go to a prostitute if prostitution was legal. All this stuff can be legal. Um, you know, prostitution, drugs, they're victimless crimes. Owning a gun is a victimless crime. Yes, it can be used to hurt somebody, but if you look at the UK, where they've practically banned guns, they have a huge problem with knife crime. And then they banned knives, and it just got worse. So I say I'm all about the Second Amendment, and this is a reason why. I mean, you had the recent tragedies on the East Coast, and I don't want to go into them, but imagine if those people or one of those people had been armed. Hopefully, the stabbing certainly would have been prevented, or even if it was a shooting, somebody else, it could have ended like this, with responsible people pulling out a sidearm. They've been trained to use it. They don't hurt anybody else. They take out the shooter, and it's over. I always point to the Israelis. They had a school shooting back in the 70s. They armed teachers in Israel, and granted, Israel's a different country and they have a different situation, but they armed the teachers. Subsequently, the school shootings after that incident in the 70s, there's only been like 2 or 3 deaths, and they've all been the shooters. Because when those shooters came to the schools, the next time, the teachers were armed. And again, I'm not advocating that every man, woman, and child have a gun and be given a mandatory firearm, but the option should be there. So people don't know. People have no idea what they're going into when they go into a theater. And if they're going to do something crazy and nefarious, it makes for a politer society if you know that, geez, I better not hit this guy or do something crazy because the guy next to me, he could be armed. And that may sound crazy to people, but especially in New Jersey, but if you look at a place like Texas, I mean, this is the end result. They don't have the problems that Chicago's has. They don't. Yes, there will be problems. There are always going to be problems with guns and alcohol, everything. There are irresponsible people, and they're going to do stupid things, and it's going to be tragic. But better this situation in the church than the other version of this, which is this guy comes in and just shoots 16, 17 people before he stopped. It just basically mows down as many people as he can before, he either runs out of bullets or everybody who's still alive escapes. So I just ask you, if you're a gun control advocate, to really think about what you would want if you were in a situation like this. I know I would want to be armed. I would be like, or I would thank God that somebody else was. I definitely wouldn't want to be in this situation where I was taken hostage, or this guy just starts mowing down people and I have no recourse but to run or hide. I mean, that's just horrible. So I just ask you to reconsider that and think about it. Right, Little Joan? Because I'd want to protect you, Little Joan. I ask you to reconsider your position.